Hey there, welcome to today's lesson. I am Cori and I'll be teaching you how to find parallel and perpendicular lines, lesson 4.3. Let's go. Let's start off with some core vocabulary. Now this lesson really isn't all that hard, and as long as you know these words, you pretty much get the entire lesson. Alright, so our words are reciprocal and negative reciprocal. To find the reciprocal of a fraction, all we need to do is flip the numerator and the denominator, and to find the negative reciprocal, we just switch the sign. So positive to negative, negative to positive, yada 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 yada. You pretty much get the idea. Now, as an example of how to find the reciprocal, let's say our slope is -2, and because it's a whole number, we need to remember that there is a 1 hiding right under it. Now, all we have to do at this point is just flip these two numbers, and we have a reciprocal, which is -1/2. To find our negative reciprocal, we're just going to take our reciprocal, -1/2, and all we have to do is switch the sign to positive. So our negative reciprocal is +1/2. Alright, now into some core concepts. We're basically going to get into what parallel and perpendicular lines are. Alright, parallel lines and slopes. Two lines on the same plane that will never intersect are parallel. Two non-vertical lines are parallel if and only if they have the same slope. Now, you might find two lines that look something like this, but if you look closely, you'll see that they're slanted towards each other and will eventually intersect. Now, for perpendicular lines and slopes, two lines in the same plane that intersect at a right angle are perpendicular. Non-vertical lines are negative reciprocals. Right here is what two perpendicular lines look like at that right angle. And like our example from earlier, line A might be -2 and line B might be +1/2. Now for some examples, here's where I'll explain how to do some problems that you might see later on. Number 1, line A passes through -1,3 and 1,9. Line B passes through -2,12 and -1,14. And line C passes through 3,8 and 6,10. Here we just need to identify any parallel or perpendicular lines. And this isn't a lot of information, but it's all we need. Alright, step 1 to solving this problem is finding the slope, and step 2 is evaluating the numbers for negative reciprocals and same slopes. Now, let's pause right here and just figure out how to find the slope. So slope, there's about 3 ways to do it. First, you can graph it and you can count spaces using rise over run. The second way is using the formula. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 equals your slope. The final way is mental math, change of y over change of x. Basically, all this is we are counting the spaces between our x and y values. Going back to the problem, we're going to be using change of y over change of x because we have 2 points and it's very easy to do it. So that first one, -1,3 and 1,9, we're going to label our x and y values, then draw arrows from x to x and y to y. Alright, so first we're going to be looking at our y values, and between 3 and 9 there's 6 spaces, and because we're going from 3 to 9, that is 6 positive. So we're going to write +6, and from -1 to 1, it's +2, and we're going to write that as 6 over 2. Now that can be simplified, so we're going to simplify that down to 3, because 6 divided by 2 equals 3. Now all you have to do now is just find the slope for the rest of them using that exact method, and we can move on to the evaluation portion of this problem. Alright, we have our slopes. Line A is 3, line B is 2, and line C is 2/3. Now, the questions we should be asking are any of the slopes the exact same, and are there any negative reciprocal numbers? Now, we just need to think about it because this is essentially our answer. The answer to the first one is no. None of the numbers are the same. 3, 2, and 2/3 are very different numbers. For the second question, it is also no, because none of the numbers are negative reciprocals of each other. Therefore, our final answer is no pair of lines are parallel or perpendicular to each other. Second problem, use the graph to find parallel or perpendicular lines. Same steps, find the slope, we're going to do counting spaces using rise over run because it's on the graph and it's way easier than counting or whatever. So looking at the green line, we can see it goes up 2 and to the 4 left, and we write that as 2 over 4 and simplify that down to negative 1/2. We know it is negative because just looking at the graph, we can see that the line is going down. All right, next we're going to look at the purple line. We're going to see that it goes up 4 and to the right 2. And we can write that as 4 over 2. And we can simplify that down to 2 because 4 divided by 2 equals 2. All right, lastly, we're going to look at the blue line. We can see that it goes up 5 and to the right 3. So that can be written as slope equals 5 over 3. And we're not going to simplify this because, well, it can't be simplified any further than it already is. All right, now that we have our slopes, we can ask ourselves the 2 same questions as before. Are any of these slopes the exact same? And are there any negative reciprocal numbers? The answer to the first question is no, there are no identical slopes, and the answer to the second question is actually yes. The green and purple line are perpendicular as they are negative reciprocals of each other. Therefore, our final answer will be none are parallel and the green and purple lines are perpendicular. Alright, so our next question is a word problem. A city water department is proposing the construction of a new water pipe. As shown in the graph, the new pipe will be perpendicular to the old pipe. Write an equation that represents the new pipe. Alright, so we're going to look at that blue line. That's the new pipe. We're going to write it in y equals mx plus b form. Reminder, m is slope and b is y-intercept. Okay, first we're going to find the new slope of the line. Looking at the blue line, we can see that it goes down 3 and to the right 4. Therefore, it can be written as negative 3/4. And it's negative because, well, the line is going down. Next, we're going to plug in the existing point. Our existing point is 2, 0. So we're going to plug it into y equals negative 3/4 x plus b. And that can be written as 0 equals negative 3/4 times 2 plus b. All right, now we're going to solve for b. So we're going to start by multiplying negative 3/4 times 2, and that will be 0 equals 6/4 plus b. That can be simplified to 0 equals negative 3/2 plus b. All right, next we're going to add 3/2 to both sides, and that's going to cancel out. And what we're left with is 3/2 equals b, and we now have our y-intercept. All right, now that we have our slope and our y-intercept, we can plug it into slope-intercept form, and our final answer will be y equals negative 3/4 x plus 3/2. Thank you for your time, and I really hope that this was a good summary of the lesson. See you next time, and goodbye.